Good morning everybody and welcome to the Digital Symposium 2018. I'm Simon Hughes, I'm here with long-term CEREC doctors Paul Abraham, Simon Belford and Vishal Shah. We are talking about incorporating digital technology into general dental practice. So Paul, I'd like to start with you if I may. Why did you go digital and what benefits has it brought to you and your patients?
Simon, I went digital about 10 years ago. I originally went to a demo in a lab with a scanner, and I think it was just a no-brainer. When you see the digital in action and compared to taking impressions, there's no other way really. I'm sure the guys would agree. I think from the perspective of the patients, from our perspective, I work in a small practice in central London, so again, it sets me apart from my competitor, or it certainly did at the time, although I still believe that's the case, because I don't think there's that many people scanning, or as many as there should be. It was the only way for me. Once you start, there's no way back.
That's great. So back then, you as a fairly early adopter of the system, what sort of drew you to the CEREC system as a particular?
Again, as a small practice, and I often hear from people, unless you've got multiple surgeries, the financial side of CEREC isn't great. And I'm a small two-surgery practice, small private practice. From my perspective, the ability to mill in-house, and I think Michelle will agree with this, was a game changer. So patients can walk in the door, have something delivered, made none once on a vital tooth, walk out, job done. There's nothing like it. And the ability to do that stuff myself as well, you know, to take control of my margins, take control of my design, it's just great. You know,
the clinical control is a big part of it.
Yeah, huge part of it, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. So Vishal, that brings me on to you and how your reasons for investing in this technology and how it affects your business and also the patient response as well. Is that,
yeah, thanks. I think, I actually started doing CEREC dentistry about 13 years ago. I started on the original CEREC 3. When my boss actually bought the unit, I was just absolutely mesmerized by it. I thought, wow, this is something, you know, it's great, you know, it's going to move forward, it's the new age, it's digital. And about that time was when everything was starting, you know, digital in itself was actually coming together quite a lot. Over the years, what happened is that whole system, the way it actually worked, the workflow, et cetera, actually became more and more refined. It could do more for you, which basically just eased the whole sort of burden, if you like, on the dentist in terms of actually, you know, getting margins, getting occlusion, et cetera. But what was nice about it is that it was actually a process which enabled you to interact with a patient throughout the whole journey, if you like, from where they actually need a restoration done to actually watching it being prepared or designed and then milled, tried in, and finally fitted. So what it did for the patient journey was actually gave them a little bit more insight into exactly what was actually being done, how it was being done, and what we were actually aiming to achieve. As a practice builder, there's no better way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's great. And like you say, things have evolved quite dramatically over the last, certainly, since Paul's been invested in yourself, the last 10, 13 years, we've seen some very significant developments on that, and the system's got easier to use, and of course the patient experience has become better, easier, more comfortable than it was years ago with the powdering. Of course, we're now powder-free.
Absolutely. I think with the with regards to actually the business side of things, one of my biggest sort of issues or my biggest sort of negative factors was actually the initial financial investment, because I thought to myself, well, it's a lot of money to spend and pay for such a system, but actually every single time I've invested in it, I haven't regretted it one bit. And I've you know, I've had the new Omnicam just over a year, sorry, I beg your pardon, better than last time. You know, and I haven't once thought about how am I going to pay for this. It pays for itself. It really does.
I think it's a really good indicator that the fact that you guys have been using the system for so long, and you know, and again, as the system develops, you're prepared to reinvest into the system because at the end of the day, it just works so well for both clinician and patient.
Well, you constantly hear that as a barrier from, you know, when you're talking to other dentists about the cost. But it's just, that's a mindset, I think, because I think anyone who would get involved realise that, I mean, I'm sure we'd all say the same, that investment is negated by what we gain from using the system on a daily basis. You know, it's just easily amortised. It's just, it is a mindset you've got to get past.
Yeah. Certainly for me, I thought about it long and hard in 2004 to make the initial investment, but after that, to then upgrade to the Omnicam, it was just a natural progression. Just didn't think about it after that.
Yeah, well, that's great news. So, well, as we discussed, the benefits of chairside single visit dentistry are very clear, I think, where we've discussed that. But Simon, how would you describe the benefits of having a digitally based system like CEREC system and working with laboratories? Has that affected your relationship with the lab, or has it enhanced it in any way?
Well, it certainly enhanced it, and for my initial investment in CEREC, it's brought different patients to the practice. I think the laboratory might be worried if I was investing in something that I could make crowns for myself, but it's increased uptake of treatment with patients, and working with the laboratory now via CEREC Connect portal is just a whole new stage forward for myself and my patients.
So that relationship with the laboratory has actually got closer
got
as a
stronger,
result, and stronger as a result of digital.
And the things that we can do with CEREC Connect in terms of implantology, where we use scan flags, we have our work sent out to the laboratory to do things that I can't really do in-house.
So for more advanced cases, that's
for
when
more,
you can work
and
with
different materials as well.
Yeah.
Certainly full contour zirconia.
Yeah. So Paul, are any cases you can think of where you would perhaps resort back to traditional impressions?
Try not to.
Maybe
Maybe a set of dentures, Simon, but that's the point. The point is, I think, in embracing digital, you want to just try and use it for as much as you can. I think Vishal was mentioning about subgingival margins, maybe occasionally, but I find I can get past most things. So I don't like to take impressions. Maybe for whitening trays, I might take impressions, alginates. I say maybe full dentures, but I think there's a lot of partial cases you can get by. And again, using Connect, the portal's opening up so we can extract files as well. So,
from a medico-legal point of view as well, with new patients, we now scan upper and lower, and we can store that as a 3D PDF on their notes, which is useful.
Yes, I'm hearing more about that. So it's a big advantage being able to take, those initial scans and having that that information, particularly for implant cases, when you're saving all the tissue information. It's always there when it comes to the design process to fall back on. So there's a lot of benefits there.
I think one of the things that, I'm quite new to this whole CEREC Connect concept, but my sort of, when I was sold was actually earlier on this year. I had my brother come over from America. He lives in America, and heavy bruxist, he's got TMJ issues and all the rest of it. There's not much I could do for him there and then, so I just thought, well, let me take a scan and just see what to do. And having spoken to a couple of friends and colleagues and things, I managed to actually use CEREC Connect to actually send that scan across to a laboratory in Denver, in Colorado, where he lives, and managed to get him an appliance. Wow, and for me, that was absolutely amazing. On the other side of the world, I've still managed to deliver treatment. So for me, I thought that was amazing. Absolutely brilliant.
Because you don't suffer any deterioration of sending impressions, carriage, that sort of thing. So it's actually a true representation of what the oral situation is.
We don't even get study models back from our laboratory now. We just get the abutment and the crown, and that's it. We don't have to get rid of chips and models anymore.
Yeah. Well, I know the amount of cases going through laboratories, particularly the digitally based ones, are just going through the roof now in terms of we're finding that some of the big labs who are doing a lot of work digitally are finding that they are working with more and more full chairside users, not just intraoral scanners as well. So there's benefits clearly on both sides. That's good. So I think this is one I can address to you all. I think digital dentistry has become a huge topic in recent years, and it must be quite daunting for particularly some of the guys who are here for this weekend who are looking to invest in digital dentistry. What would your advice be to peers who are considering this and looking into investing in digital dentistry, generally speaking?
Well, don't do it next month, don't do it tomorrow, do it today. Don't get left behind.
I mean, you guys obviously, you were all invested in many years ago when things were actually quite different back then, but it's obviously worked out for all three of you.
Well, I often heard that dentistry or digital dentistry is the future, but it's, as Simon said, it's the here and now, and it's been the here and now for probably a decade. I mean, really, in reality. Think carefully about what you want to do with it. That's number one, and then depending on what you want to do you want a million house? Do you want to connect? That would dictate perhaps what part of the system you want to get involved with. But if you're not picking up a scanner,
also, yeah, if you want to link up to CBCT as well, I said that was the big game changer for me when I went on to Omnicam. Was being able to link that and design and plan my implant cases and have guide to mill as well.
I think the biggest thing about it is actually that feeling of isolation. I think a lot of people think, well, I'm going to be in my practice, I'm going to be in the surgery, I'm not going to be able to really get any help with this, or I won't be able to figure it out. Certainly in my early days, if I thought I'm going to have an issue with this or I'm going to have some difficulty, it's very simple. Just take a pre-op impression. You can always add a temporary, and that's it.
Of course, yeah.
But with the advent of, again, we're going digital. Social media, things like Facebook. There are forums on there where people actually help you. There's the CEREC Doctors Forum as well.
Which is great.
There is so many huge amounts of support.
Really
so. If anyone, in my opinion, is thinking, oh, I don't know, I'm going to be a bit isolated as far as this is concerned, don't feel that at all. You're not. There are so many users out there.
So many courses. There's so much help. I mean, there is, and there's a good community within it as well.
Yeah.
It's an exciting. If you're bored in dentistry, and there's a lot of guys that get bored doing the same thing all day, every day, this is just a whole new world. It's just get involved.
And there's always something new to learn as well.
Always.
Conferences like this, you always pick up something new, little tips and tricks from colleagues, which can make a big difference.
I actually remember about 10 years ago, we were sat in a pub in Marble Arch. I was talking to a few of my friends, and I was talking to them about CEREC. This was the CEREC 3D. The 3D had just come out. And my colleagues just looked at me thinking, is he sure about this? 6 out of the 8, all right, all use CEREC, which is great. And the other 2 are in hospital, so they don't have access to it, but they would, like to. So, I mean, that in itself is proof in the pudding. Everyone who I know uses it, and it's fantastic. It's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, after I bought it in 2004, I did the stats in 2005, and my machine would have actually paid for itself outright in the first year.
That's exactly what my accountant said to me.
Really?
It looked at the numbers, looked at so where's your
that's it.
Where are your labs gone?
Yeah.
It was amortised immediately. I think there's no doubt about that. But you have to use it. You have to embrace it.
And the tax relief as well in the first year.
Yeah. It's good to know that the return on investment is there, and that gives a lot of confidence. But I think also the clinical control is something which is very important, and the patient experience. So all 3 things come together very nicely with the system.
Sure.
It's not. I don't think it would be fair to actually say, right, just buy a machine and get started. There is a bit of a learning curve, of course, like with anything. But it is actually easier than what people think.
Than it was.
100%, absolutely.
Well, the other side of that is also the improvement in your dentistry as well, because if you're scanning, you're prepping, just doing a single tooth, you prep a tooth, and you have to create your own crown. You stick your scan on screen and have a look and see what you've done. If you're not producing, so it only makes your dentistry better as well.
I totally agree with that, actually, yeah, absolutely.
That's great. That's great. So I think, well, thank you so much for your time. Let's take a break, and we'll be back with more panels just in a minute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon.